A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. In our previous lectures, we are actually discuss about the problems, some related to about education sector, the major problems. And now let us discuss about the analysis of these problems, that how we can overcome of these problems, we can how relate it with the other education sectors or to the other countries that are developed nowadays, and how we can actually manage our education system properly so we can promote the better education system in Pakistan as well as in all four provinces, especially Baluchistan. First of all, discuss about the analysis of problems. These problems we are actually discussed in our previous lecture. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Number 1, existing infrastructure not utilized properly. In all provinces of Pakistan, the existing infrastructure is actually not utilized properly by our students, by our pupils, or by our teachers, or by our school management, because in some areas there are a lot of children but the building is very low quality, but in some areas building is very high but the number of students or the number of pupils that was there were actually very low. So discuss about the infrastructure, and we must have a better proper infrastructure, and there are in several parts of the country these infrastructure are actually suffered from a lot of different storms or different earthquakes or flooding, like these problems. Secondly, problems related to there are lack of expertise, because in our education system mostly our teachers are not well educated, or they have not a real grip on their education or on their own subject command. Secondly, there is a lack of textbook development, because in most of our public institutions books are printed in very low quantity, and but as compared to this, the number of students who read at these schools were actually in large numbers. Secondly, there is a lack of institutional problem. These institutional problems are related to lack of funding, lack of proper infrastructure, lack of clean water, lack of other cleanliness. Secondly, there is a lack of quality. There is a difference between a quality and a quantity, so we must have a proper quality assurance, and we must handle the problems related to quality assurance with the education sector of Pakistan if we need to promote our education sector. Third is low investment are made in teachers training. If we have very low investments on our teacher trainings, what happen to our teachers? First of all, there is increasing in the absenteeism rate of teachers, which are actually 20% in Punjab and 30% in KPK. Secondly, our teachers have no quality of teaching because of lack of training institutions or because of lack of fund for their training. Number third is their school timing is not productive for their own as well as for their pupils, because of lack of training institutions or because of lack of funding for training, our pupils or our teachers cannot spend their time with better productivity. Number 4 problem is there are various challenges that taking place inside our schools. These challenges are like there is a shortage of teachers, there is a more number of students. Number 2, there is a teacher absenteeism, that is a challenge inside the school. Number 3, there is a lack of basic facilities, like there is a no any sort of first aid, any related to medicine, any related medicine to first aid for the brutal injury or any critical injury if children are playing into the schools and they do and our school do not first aid kit. Number 3 is that there is a lack of friendly environment between teacher and between our pupils. Number 4 is there is a challenge outside of the school. There is a lot of challenges that outside of the school. First of all, challenge is that there is a shortage of schools. These shortage of schools mostly happening into the areas of Baluchistan, because their population is only 12 million people from whole of the country. Among 201 million people of Pakistan, only 12 million people are live in Baluchistan. So there is a for these 12 million there is also a shortage of schools. Number 2 is there is a distance problem, especially for females, because schools are actually located far away from the female houses. So this is actually a challenge for their parents as well as children to reach towards their school. Number 3 is insecurity, because of increasing terrorism, or in a previous APS attack, Army Public School 16 December 2014 attack, in which 145 people among in these 146 people there is a 132 students who are actually from 8 to 18 years was killed in this was martyred in this incident. So that's why there is a insecurity problem into the different institutions. Secondly, there is a poverty. Because of poverty, many parents thought that their children must solve their own problems and can earn for their own and support their own house because of lack of enough money. Number 5 is there is a cultural norms, and number 6 there is a lack of parents awareness, because mostly parents are illiterate and they do not actually know about the importance of education for their children or as well as for their child on domestic and an international level. Let us discuss about the solutions. First of all, we must have hiring qualified staff. These qualified staff our teachers should be paid not according to their level of education, but we must pay them according to their level of education. We must pay them according to their level of qualification, and we must pay them according to their productive rate, and we must pay them according to that how actually they perform into their school activities. Secondly, we must give them more financial benefits, because most of teachers thought that teaching is not a good future job because it's true that there is no insecurity into the state job, but there is a lack of chances for improvement, low incentives, low benefits for their future, and that's why most of people who do not get a job into the higher sectors, they just try their luck into the education sector. Number 2, primary education should be made compulsory and free. According to constitutions of Pakistan, education is free for those students who are between 5 to 16 years, and after that they must have got scholarships to fulfill these demands. So that's why we must have free education. We must have free education as well as compulsory education to completion of primary, and these education system must be impressive, interesting, and should be appealing for those younger students or younger pupils. Secondly, there is a difference between student and teacher ratio. We must have a student and teacher ratio according to 15:1. We should have only one teacher on every 15 pupil, but the current students and teacher ratio is 40:1. We can say that one teacher is on 40 students, or one teacher is holding on to the 40 students. So that is not a proper justice system into the teachings for the teachers. Number 4, promote national language as supporting language, because we must help from our national language Urdu, and our English language must be for at the higher level of education, we must use our domestic level or our national level language for to communicate with our between pupils and the teachers. So that is the why that is important that we must have a national language for as a supporting language for our own education system. Number two, translate knowledge into national language. Our national language should be supporting language for the communication and for other industrial business also, and we must communicate the outer and foreign authors. We must translate those books that are actually printed on international level, and we must need to be translated them into our own national language for reading these books and understanding well those thoughts. Number 5 is university professor translate foreign research into local language. University professors should translate foreign research into local languages, because these foreign research are actually very useful for our children, for our pupils, for our students, and they can learn a lot from these foreign research. So this is definitely helpful for students, that they can actually teach from, that they can actually learn from these foreign research. Number six solution is balance between public and private institutions. There is a great difference between the curriculum or syllabus between the private and public institutions. Our government should undertake these decisions and need to keep balance between standard and level of practice between public institutions as well as private institutions. Number 7, government should support outstanding students. Government should provide them more chances to elaborate themselves. Government must give them more chances to get scholarship and get higher education from out of the country. So government should must support those outstanding students, and must stop actually brain drain. Secondly, we need to stop brain drain. What is brain drain? Brain drain is actually migrating of professionals or migrating of talented students toward the foreign countries because of for the sake of money, or because for the sake of better incentive, or for the better lifestyle. So that's why we must have capable and outstanding students, hold them in their own country, and government should provide them proper incentives as well as they provide good facilities, good infrastructures, and good financial packages. So government need to stop those students who are just actually move away from their own country and for the betterment of job, and they have supported as they act as a support for the other countries. Secondly, promote technical education. We must have technical education, especially for those children whose parents are actually industrialist workers. We must have education, technical education should infused into regular system, and Punjab board should make plan to give technical education to children of industrial workers. Secondly, workshop for teachers. There should be workshop for teachers, because if we have proper workshop for teachers, we have better teaching methods, and we have better productive time for pupils and for teachers also. There is a allocation should be made easy by district government as well as by provincial government, because allocation of new teachers should be made easy for both governments at domestic as well as on provincial level. Number 12 is syllabus planning. We must need to take help from professionals or from old teachers, so they can regulate our syllabus, or they should make balance between public and private education system, making plan syllabus, and or they have making a definite policy for it for the private and public institutions. So our education system should bring a revolution through evolution. Education proved to be cure of disability of the state, and bring a revolution through eradicating social evils through education. That is the real aim of education, that it can bring a revolution through evolution, not too much fast, but slowly. Let us discuss about the recommendations that our state must adopt these things that we are actually recommended, so we have better chances to be improved our education system. First of all, technical education should be part of secondary education, because if we made technical education as a part of our secondary education, this is definitely helpful to produce more skilled laborers for betterment of our industrial sectors. Secondly, we must have classes for carpenting, electricity or welding vagera, and must include these types of education, technical education, into our compulsory education or into our secondary education or into our syllabus. Secondly, incentives for students. We must have encourage those students who are actually from poor families, and government should provide incentives to their parents so that this can help to reduce absenteeism of or the dropping out ratio of most of the students. So government should provide some incentives to the poor students so that their parents send them towards the schools or towards the college for the better lifestyle and for the better education system. Economic incentives for students may help in reducing to dropout ratio. Third one is local government would spend funds for education on the basis of needs. Local governments would spend fund for education system on the basis of needs, because according to needs, local government helpful in promoting education and literacy in the whole of the district as well as country. Number 4 is monitoring system against corruption. There should be a better accountability system against the corruption, because Fatma Jannah says that corruption is like a snow which melts from top, and we are actually must have strong institutions of accountability that can actually stop the corruption, or acts of corruption must be very strong, that everybody must be know that there is a long state and there is a long arms of state, and there is a very strong arms of state that no one can save himself from if he commits crime of corruption. Secondly, career counseling of pupils. We must have career counseling of pupils into different institutions of private as well as public, according to need of market, according to new jobs of market, according to new technology, information technology, according to new technical institutions or technical problems related. We must give them skills and knowledge of our pupils, so that this is helpful for them for their future job. Last but not the least, counseling for parents. We must have counseling for parents so that parents can choose a career for their own child according to market need, and they cannot force to their teacher to their sons or their childs that they are choosing those subjects that actually not according to their own will, but according to their parents' will. So I hope you understand the education system analysis of problem, solution and recommendations. I hope you got it. Thank you for listening. Please subscribe our channel.